Dunreedy Engineering, I'll just introduce our engineering company from Kilkenny, founded in 1989, supply mechanical and electrical services to the food industry in Ireland and overseas, also the pharmaceutical industry and the beverage industry. Has a turnover of about 10 million and employs about 85 people. Our activities as Dunreedy are in what we call the Framework 7 programme, where we started in 2008. Just a bit of background about Framework 7. It's a programme designed to support research-related EU initiatives in R&D. And it has a life cycle, as far as we understand, starting in 2007 and finishing in 2013. By way of background, Ireland's income from this programme is about 264 million. Just by way of comparison, the UK is 2.8 billion. So there is a significant income that has come into the country since 2007. We are involved in 4 programmes in Framework 7, and by the way, also UCD are involved in 3, working on the research application for the projects, and also on the SME side, our 3 other Irish companies involved in the projects that we're in. Dunreedy started in 2008 on a programme called Whale which is a programme which was carried out work on the use of whey protein to replace copolymers as an oxygen barrier in packaging. Now, it's a bit more expensive than that, but that's just basically what the project is about. This project was completed, and it's a 3-year program. The first program was 3 years and was finished in 2011. And because of its success from a research point of view and from an application point of view, it's now gone into phase 2. Phase 2 has started where 2 SME companies, one in Slovenia and one in Spain, are working on the commercialisation step. And the Whale Air is now registered as a trademark in the European Union, Australia, Malaysia and the USA. And at the moment it's also in a patent application process which will be published in January 2013. Dunreedy will be part as an SME, as a partner in the patent and trademark process, and we work with the company in Slovenia and Spain and 2 or 3 other SMEs in Europe. The main benefit of using whey protein and whale air, obviously, in packaging is that, one, there's a 40% improvement in recycling, because if you use whey protein, it can be broken down in the recycling process by enzymes, unlike copolymers, which are difficult, if not impossible. As Trevor has mentioned earlier about the food harvest and food growth for 2020 and 2050, 50% increase in milk production in Ireland with the removal of or postponement of the quota regime, whey protein is one of those products that comes from the dairy industry. Now, Ireland is pretty progressive in the whey protein markets throughout Europe and the world, but it's not the case in Europe, where up to 30% of all whey is still dumped or used for low-value animal feeding. So whale air is an alternative use for whey protein, which it also replaces fossil fuels in packaging. In the second project we're involved in a project called Cool Meat, which is carrying out work on the use of immersion vacuum cooling for cooked meats. EU regulations demand that cooked meats are cooled within specific time limits from 74 degrees C approximately to 10 or less in less than 2.5 hours after cooking, in order to comply with good practice. There are many methods used to do this, but conventional methods such as air blast freezing, cooling and immersion cooling are not possible due to the risk of surface freezing, which is not an acceptable product in the marketplace. Immersion vacuum cooling, in the research work in which UCD are involved and other European research institutes, universities and research institutes in Spain, Germany, Italy and Denmark, For instance, this one, the Danish Meat Research Institute, which is probably number 1 or number 2 in the world in meat research, are an active participant. The work indicates that the cooling time is reduced in sausages by 50% and in other meats in sausages from 2 hours to 30 minutes, which is significant. That has an upside. Obviously, the costs of cooling are reduced significantly without any impairment on the quality of the product. This project, Cool Meat, is just about to finish this month. In fact, at the 31st of October, it will be its completion date. The product is not patentable, but the commercialisation has been taken over by one of the SMEs who have the belief that they have a market to do it, they have their infrastructure to do it, and they have the resources to do it. This company is DASA from Barcelona, who are involved in ham and bacon production. The third project we're involved in is called Smart Milk. In milk, as we all know, there are regulations going back to 1928 that milk must be pasteurised to 72 degrees C for 15 minutes or for 15 seconds and then rapid cooling. However, there is a market out there for products where milk should be thermised but not pasteurised for technical reasons. And this is applicable especially in some cheese varieties. The project in Smart Milk was to carry work on heat treatment where we could use thermosonication, sonication and pulsed electric field treatment to replace conventional pasteurization in some applications, so we can inactivate harmful bacteria, especially bacteria that cause tuberculosis, which is the original aim of pasteurization, to inactivate those bacteria. The research work, and again, UCD are involved in this, is to build a prototype plant and process, which UCD have achieved. And that work at the moment is in research application and trying to replicate what would happen in an industrial environment. The other benefit of that is that the milk, there's less thermal damage to the milk, and therefore it should improve the quality of the milk from a taste, organoleptically and nutritionally characteristics, without impacting on the shelf life, because the shelf life must be maintained. The fourth project that Dunready Engineering are carried out also involves UCD, and this is called ultrafine wine. Now, it's not obviously typical for Irish people to be involved in wine production, and we don't know much about it. We're interested from our point of view as a company, an engineering company, in the outcome of the engineering aspect, where we can contribute to supplying engineering services, contribute to the technical development through some people in our staff, and hopefully that we are there for when the product is commercialised. In wine, we're using work on ultrasound technology to accelerate the aging process of wine by 90%, extend the shelf life by 30%. Now, this is the target. That project is ongoing, and the reasons for doing this obviously are costs, because there's a large amount of working capital tied up in the maturing of wine in Europe, especially in the wine-producing countries. UCD are working on this in collaboration with European research institutes in Germany and in Switzerland, who are not part of the EU but are allowed in this project because they have something to offer, and in France. All the projects except Whale Air, which, as I said at the outset, has been successful, is now in phase 2, will finish at the end of 2012. I suppose to give background, the impact that by being involved in these projects for Dunready Engineering, which is a small Irish company that allows us to get exposure to the European market for our engineering services, allows us to learn from institutes across the European Union, and also, as mentioned before, allows us to look how we can reduce our costs and improve the environment. Thank you very much.